The pragmatic man regards the idealistic man, not unreasonably, as the slave of ideology, akin in temperament to the loser. This is neither surprising nor locally inaccurate. Among those who inhabit local environments and lose, ideology beckons powerfully. The loser is highly motivated to develop an idealistic stance antithetical to the local, to justify his loss to himself. This movement of bad faith makes him deeply unacceptable to the pragmatic man, the local winner. He is in turn motivated to see through the facade of the idealist to the loser and to judge him properly as resentful, short-sighted, and deeply untrustworthy. But not all ideals are ideologies, and not all idealistic men are losers. Sometimes they are individuals who have sacrificed local victory for something higher. This may make them appear deeply untrustworthy to the master of the local environment. But that is only because the facts that array themselves to him in consequence of his mastery remain insufficient. Trapped by the fact of his own local victory, he can only see the reality of what he knows, and does not know that there is also a reality that he does not know. The truly idealistic man is an avatar of the reality of the unknown, and not a loser masquerading in moral dress. His difference from the local victor makes him appear in the guise of the defeated, the only opposite the local victor understands. The facts that array themselves to the idealist are therefore invisible to the pragmatic man, and no communication is possible. What if the facts would not come into alignment between antagonists until they wanted the same thing? For the facts to come into alignment, the antagonists must want something that transcends the local, even the local victory. They must want peace more than dominance, more than security, more than charisma. That means that the peacemaker must be able to sell them something more valuable than victory. It is for this reason that the peacemaker must be a man of the uncharted seas. On the uncharted seas, the axioms themselves remain uncertain, and rationality has nothing to grip, nothing firm to manipulate or order. This is why rationality is not the highest value. Right? Rationality is what will win you in the local game, but not in the metagame. Right? In the metagame, it's something like imagination that is more important. It's the right hemisphere over the left hemisphere. Right? The left hemisphere mode, let's say, is adapted to the local game, while the right hemisphere mode becomes adapted to the metagame. Right? That's one way of thinking about it. Right? And maybe being rational is necessary, but not sufficient. Right? Not sufficient. Curiosity is more important than knowledge in the transcendent environment that surrounds the local. When the axioms themselves are uncertain, who is friend and who is enemy is no longer something self-evident. The key to the locked door may be held by the contemptible from the local perspective. The criminal, or even the heretic, may hold the key. When the facts themselves are uncertain, after all, it is no easy matter to be sure who is criminal and who heretic. In the transcendent space that surrounds the local, everyone must therefore have a voice. The man truly bereft of direction must sift through the facts offered by all, highest to lowest, in the hope that even what was previously rejected might now be of value. But who will follow the man who takes the advice of a fool, not the victorious and strong? So peace eludes them. The peacemaker, however, must even listen to the damned. He does not know what the facts are, and even the damned might therefore have something valuable to say. The man who is curious is no longer certain that he is right. Certainty is therefore the enemy of peace. Certainty is the consequence of local victory, and the victorious want to maintain their victory, not to establish peace. In consequence, the victorious substitute judgment for curiosity. In the local environment, the damned, who deserve to be damned, stay forever damned. Justice demands that they lose their voice as punishment for their transgressions. If peace rather than victory is the goal, however, then the damned must be allowed their moment, even if they are in league with the devil himself. Impatience is a virtue in the local environment. When the facts are not in dispute, good and evil are defined sharply and crisply. Figure is figure, and ground is ground. There is no value in standing about when the good beckons clearly. It is time instead to make progress, to lead, to follow, or to get out of the way. When the facts themselves are in dispute, however, there is nothing left but patience. The invisible becomes visible of its own accord, in accordance with its own frame of time, and there is no pushing when the direction to push cannot be established. The quiet voices that beckon beyond the din of the obvious can only be heard by the man who is patient enough to let even the stones speak. No pebble can be left unturned if what has been lost has not yet been found. Even the women and children must therefore be allowed their say. The peacemaker's actions, then, will be of a sort that the locally pragmatic will find intolerable. He will disrupt the game that they've won at. Local victory is admirable in the local environment, but victory, as the father of pride, blinds the victorious to the transcendent, the source of peace. This means that the peacemaker, who wants to get the facts straight, must remain unconcerned with his own status. The damned, after all, cannot speak without an advocate. To become an advocate of the damned, the peacemaker must abandon his local pretensions, his desire for status. Otherwise, he cannot listen. But if he serves as an advocate for the damned, then he risks developing sympathy for the devil himself. That very sympathy makes him unacceptable to the local victors, and maybe even to himself. In the transcendent environment, the place where peace is made, all conditional values become relativized outside the dominion of the local. The peacemaker must therefore lose his bearings and risk vertigo, must in fact become accustomed to vertigo and no longer seek to retreat to stable ground. The peacemaker must therefore be a master of courage and of faith, must be impervious, not to doubt, but to the axiomatic and rational certainty of the victor. And this is the thing, right? Those who are local victors have certainty, right? They have a lot of certainty, right? And of course you experience this when you interact with people like this, right? These are people who somebody who probably wouldn't like somebody like me, say an evangelical Christian